Hi guys, welcome back to Unbothered. Today we have a really fun guest that I'm so excited to have. We also have Alexa, of course,
Hi,
here with us,
guys.
but we have Kylie Rae.
Hello.
I'm bringing on Kylie today because she is super badass. She founded an agency that I want her to talk about, as well as has a very successful page that I want her to talk about.
Yes, thank you. And also, I'm a mom with all of that.
Yeah, and juggling all of that as a mom is insane to me. I can't even wake up on time on a normal day.
Oh, no, I am humbled every day. Well, thank you for having me, for
So happy you're
starters.
here.
I founded Playroom Agency, will be 2 years on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Wow. And I founded the company because, I've been a creator for 10 plus years.
I've personally known you for a long time, but I remember I'd followed you way before we even met.
Yeah.
You just started posting though. Was it more of just like lifestyle content?
So when I first started doing this was like, oh my gosh, I feel like creators wasn't a thing. Like social media influencers weren't a thing.
Did you start on Instagram, like early Instagram days?
Yes, like pre where it was even a K.
Oh,
like
wow.
to get 10K. And I remember this guy hit me up. Yeah, I know.
whoa.
I remember this guy hit me up and he was a photographer. I worked in sales and marketing before this.
Mhm.
He saw my page and was like, "You're really pretty. Like, I want to do a photo shoot with you." And I'm like, "Thank you." Okay, cool. Which now looking back, I'm like, probably shouldn't have just like met up with some random guy to take photos.
So yeah,
It
that's
was
a
the
rite of
thing, though, is
passage
what
in
people
LA.
did back then.
Literally, I think
Yeah.
I was like 19 or 20 years old. Like I was so young. Also, I grew up here. So it's kind of the thing to do. I remember him telling me like, oh, if you get to a certain number of followers on Instagram, like brands will send you stuff for free. And I was, a broke late teen. So I was like, okay, bet. Like I'm going to do that. So I reached out to like a ton of pages. I grew my following pretty quickly because I think at the time no one was trying to grow an account. So a lot of these larger branded accounts were so easy to be like, yeah, I'll post you on my account. Or even finding like, because I have full tattoos, finding like sexy tattoo pages and like having them repost me.
Yeah.
They were like so willing to do it. So I grew pretty quickly. So I kind of did the whole sex sells. I was very sexy to start. So a lot of my fan base was men. And then tried to go the like agency route. This is like also pre OnlyFans. And they were like, you have to be very PG. So I started trying to switch my content around. And that is hard. Like to have
Yeah.
all men as your fan base and then try and switch it. It wasn't working. So I did YouTube. Got a whole new fan base through that.
Yeah.
And then 2020 happened and I wasn't making any money with brand deals. And I kind of was like, okay, the OnlyFans thing got brought up. And I have a partner, my husband, Shepard. We are now engaged. We've been together for 5 years. We had just started dating. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I have a question. Like, if you saw someone had like OnlyFans in their bio, like, are you thinking that they're doing porn? And he was like, yeah, 100%. I was like, okay. And I really cared about that at the time. That was something that I didn't want people to portray me as. And I just grew up super conservative. Even before I did social media, I was always covering myself. Like it just wasn't something that I was used to. I hadn't really like fully dove into my sexuality in a sense of like, I had never even really had a one night stand. I wasn't really a sexualized person. So it felt foreign to me. And I think that was the scariest part of being so vulnerable with my body on a platform where it is the most vulnerable.
Sure, yeah.
And so he knows that I'm also very big on pros and cons. So he was like, let's write out like a pro and con list. And it was like, okay, cool. And obviously the top one on it is the money. Like you want to make a lot of money. And then the worst con on there was how people were going to perceive me. And so I started talking to a lot of, women that I knew were already on the platform. And every single one of them said the same thing to me. I'm not even kidding. It's almost like they rehearsed this before. And they all ended the conversation on, if my only regret is that I didn't start it sooner.
Really? All of them?
Every
Wow.
single one of them. Like word for like literally to the T, the exact same thing. And I'm like, okay, have you guys been planning this?
You're like, this is what we all got together and decided
Literally.
we're going to say.
And no, Shepard even said that. He was like, you're not going to care once you take that paycheck to the bank. Like, you're not going to care. And it's true. I signed with an agency because I didn't have any. It's not really user friendly. I feel like at first, like it takes you a while to get the hang of it.
So you decided to launch your OnlyFans account, but you didn't want to do it alone. So the first step was
Yes.
signing with an agency.
Yes. So an agency had hit me up and they were like, we'll take care of it for you. And I tried using the app. It's not an app, but I tried using the website myself at first. And it's very confusing. There's a lot happening, especially if you want to really capitalize off of all of the perks that they have to offer on it. It's a lot to understand. And I wanted to make quick cash. So I signed with them without really kind of looking over anything. I was just like, here, sign my life away. There you go. Just take care of it. And I did. I made a ton of money, really, really, really fast.
I'm so curious to know, like I've seen girls say, and I want to know your opinion on if this is legit or not, that they're making like $45 million a year. And I'm like,
that is insane.
I
I do not make that much money. I have never made that much money on it. But if you take a comparison, right? There's people like a Bad Baby, I think makes like that much money, but I actually don't know what she's showing, but a lot of these girls that are making that money are doing full porn. So when I say that I have made a lot of money, it's because when I first started using the platform, I was doing like bikini photos. I wasn't even doing implied topless. I wasn't doing sexting. I wasn't doing dick rates. I wasn't doing anything explicit.
Dick rates.
And my first day, I think I made like $20,000.
Wow.
And my
Fucking
first
crazy.
month, I made like $85,000
With bikini pics.
off of bikini photos. So when I say like that was a lot of money to me for what I was selling, it's like I was selling Instagram content.
Did you understand why men were paying for the gated content that you were already posting?
I think yes and no, because I ask myself this all the time, like, why is someone going to, I think it's a lot different now, but at this time, I'm like, why is someone going to pay for X, Y, and Z when you can go to Pornhub or all these other places and get free porn?
Yeah.
But I think the difference and the thing that sets OnlyFans aside is that it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's very one-on-one. And from what I've noticed, a lot of the men or the consumer on there, like a lot of them just like want someone to talk to. Like they want friends, they want people to engage with. So I think offering that one-on-one connection is what they're technically paying for. It's not necessarily, there's some consumers on there who want, the hot photo and all of that. But for the most part, it's like they just want connection.
That's crazy. So it's almost like a girlfriend experience.
Yes.
Someone to talk to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I was with this agency, and again, for like the first year, I was like, I can do this better than them. Like I've worked in sales. I know how to sell myself. I know just certain things. I'm good at it. It comes naturally for me. And then they also kind of started doing like some shady shit. I feel like just like selling things I weren't comfortable with or ignoring me when I was like, hey, I want it to be this way. Just not something that I would want in my agency. And so I remember calling them and was like, hey girl, hey. So good to talk to you. Love what you've done for me, but I think I'm gonna like go another direction. It's been a year. I've already made them tons of money, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, let me leave. And they were like, no, you can't leave. Like, we're gonna sue you, basically. So that was really disappointing for me because I feel like it's my body. It's a very vulnerable thing that's happening online. It felt like I was in a toxic relationship and I was like, hey, like you're abusing me. I'm like this soft little puppy. Like I want to go. And they're like, sorry, you can't. It's like, what? Like,
that's really wild. Out of curiosity, were the people at the agency that were running it, were they women or men?
Both men and women.
Mixed.
And I think that's like another thing, right? This industry, the porn industry, it's like most of the creators of the porn stars are obviously women, but it's always been a male-dominated industry, which is kind of infuriating to think about.
Totally.
But now you have OnlyFans, which is like the first time in our generation that we've seen a platform where women are making the whole profit of their pages and it's going directly into their pockets and not having to give a percentage to anyone. There's a lot of men out there who will talk shit on it, but then like see how much money there's being made and be like, wait a minute. How can we get into
And
this?
also,
like,
here's one of the few female-dominated industries. I should come here and have my own piece of a pie just because I'm a man and I exist.
I should have my say in this.
I should have my say in this, even though it's maybe one of 5 female-dominated industries in the world. Let me come in.
It's such a weird, nuanced thing that everybody has their own views on, right? And jumps to conclusions about. It's so intriguing to me to have your perspective on what it's like. Did you feel judged at all right away, or were you just the same as the rest of the girls you talked to and you're like, I wish I had done it sooner?
It happened very quickly. So at first I was, and I am so lucky. I have to give a good portion of it. I have an amazing partner who was very, very, very supportive since the beginning. I mean, he was the one who also was like, you're hot. Fuck it. Like, sell your body. Like, if I was a hot girl, I would literally do the same. And I'm like, you're so right. Like, let's do that. So I have a good, he really, really helps me feel confident in starting it and being like, if you're going to do this, you need to own it. Like, it needs to be something that you own and you take 100% accountability for. And don't be shy about it. Don't like shy away when people ask you about it. Speak about it with confidence, and like what you put out, you get back into this world. And doing that has really helped. Like, anytime I've been out and people are like, what do you do? It's like, oh, I do OnlyFans. And talking about it so casually is what's helped, I feel like, kind of destigmatized it.
The thing too is that women's bodies have been used to sell everything for centuries, from like fast food to cars to movies to posters to magazines, and it's been commodified, but it hasn't been something that they've been able to profit off of and be in control of until OnlyFans. Even the porn industry. I watched a documentary. Have either of you guys seen it? It was a few years ago that came out on Netflix, and it was just an expose on the porn industry and the reality for women and like what they were making and how they were being exploited. It was horrifying. I was like, oh my God. It makes me really grateful that there is a platform for women to use like OnlyFans, but it's so nuanced and it's still stigmatized, and it still comes with all of these crazy hurdles. And then I think Alexa has an interesting
So years ago, I was dating this guy, and I remember I ended up finding out that he had subscribed to a couple girls on OnlyFans, and he was like, well, I've been subscribed to her since before you and I were together. So I was like, okay, well, like, explain to me your process behind this. And he basically came to me with a debate of, I've subscribed to them on OnlyFans because I don't watch porn anymore, because I have respect for the fact that women should be making the money off of like me having access to this content.
You love manipulation.
Okay, but in that moment, I was like, he kind of has a point. He's like, I'm gonna watch porn. I'd rather these girls get the money for it than.
He's advanced. That was an advanced.
He went to the feminist mind in me and said, I'm gonna make that work for me. After a long debate, ex-boyfriend and I decided, yeah, no, the OnlyFans has got to go. But I did like where he was coming from, because he was like, this is a more ethical way of watching porn. At least I know the people that I'm watching are the ones getting money from it. I did notice that he did like to talk to them sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. It's so funny because, like, this is my crazy side a little bit. So,
Show me.
like, I have been cheated on in every relationship, basically, for the most part. So, when me and Shepard started dating, he was very understanding that we are two completely different people that have experienced life two completely different ways. And that I really respect. He's never made me feel like, well, you're doing something so I can do it. Like, he's never done that to me, which is amazing. It's always been like, I understand, like, you've been hurt and I'm going to work at that. So, like, do what I can so you trust me. And never like, I mean, even in the beginning of the relationship, it's like I would go out until 3 a.m., right? And it's like he would be home and I would meet him at home, and that was fine. But like, he knew if he did that, I'd be like, where were you until 3 a.m.? Who were you with? So like, he would never hold that against me, right? Which I really respected. And it was kind of the same way. I was like, I wouldn't care if he started an OnlyFans, but I made it very clear from the beginning. And I don't think that he did, but we're very over communicative people, that I was like, hey, I know that I'm starting an OnlyFans, but seeing how, I think it was like a couple months in, like 6 months in, like seeing what I'm doing and how I'm interacting with people, I don't feel comfortable like if you were to have a OnlyFans to subscribe to other girls. Like that was something that was like, because it's personal. It feels different also. Like, I believe in mental cheating too, like not just a physical thing.
Totally.
There's definitely people on there that I talk to, like, that it's a fetish within their relationship. Like, if that's your fetish and that's your kink, think, like go off.
Mhm.
But I was making a stand that I was like, personally, I don't want you to subscribe to other girls.
But I think that's fair because you're doing it from a business perspective.
Yeah.
Like women who are dancers are not actually in love with their clients. They're giving them attention in the time of the day because it's their job.
Yeah.
They're not like, I want to go fuck Steve later tonight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like you messaging with somebody isn't the same as him subscribing
Yeah.
and messaging a girl. That's not business.
It's very
Sorry.
different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I got really lucky. To kind of also touch back, I feel like on our other question too, is that like it has made me 100% more confident in who I am as a woman. When I first started, I was very not insecure. I guess, yeah, I mean, we all have insecurities, but I was very nervous about what people were going to think of me.
Yeah.
And even like I'll never forget, I mean, I've helped my dad financially for a while, and I remember him coming over, and he's amazing. I love him. We love dad. But he was like, he's so supportive. He was like, I tried to follow you on your OnlyFans that you posted, but it's asking me for a credit card. And I'm like, God, Dad.
You're like, don't go
You're
on
like, you
there.
don't need to do
Please,
that.
please don't do
Please.
that. And he's like, your mom says that it's like a porn site. Are you doing porn? And I was like, well, it is a porn site. Yes, you can do porn, but it's like everyone can post whatever that they want to post. I was like, think about like social media days, what I was used to post on social media. Like that's kind of what I post on there. And he was like, how much did you make? And I told him that I made what I made in the first day. And he was like, you don't show nipples? I was like, no, Dad, I don't. And he literally goes, show some nipples.
He's like, bring it up a
come
notch.
on, let's go.
Your dad's like, make some more
Make
money.
some more money. So
Oh my
I
God.
was really lucky to have very, very supportive, friends, family, a
Yeah.
partner. Had I not, I think it would have not gone as well. Maybe I would be a little bit more insecure to tell people what I do. But because I have such a good foundation, it's made me so much more confident as a woman.
Wow.
Also, like more confident in my sexuality. It's so interesting because even like when I'm on a live, let's say on OnlyFans, I sometimes get nervous, like if Shepard were to see, because it's like, it feels like a character that you play. It's so interesting. Like, I'm not that person in real life. And even Shepard's like, why don't you do this for me? And I'm like, no, stop it. You're making me nervous.
Like I'm clocked in right now, babe. I'm clocked in.
It's such a you have a different understanding for people who are in this industry, and I have such a higher respect now for people who are in this industry because it's hard, it's a ton of work, it is work,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky to have someone so supportive of it.
So cool.
Yeah, I can't imagine without a support system. I would just be second guessing everything and be like, was that
Was
fine? Okay?
Can we talk about what it was like making content for OnlyFans while you were pregnant and now as a mom?
Yeah,
Because I'm so interested. I somehow got on some like Reddit portal or some TikTok thread of the breeding fetish and how there's just fetishes for literally everything. And the breeding fetish specifically blows my mind.
Okay, so I think it's so interesting because some people don't, and I went back and forth on it. Actually, I didn't really go back and forth on it that much. Like, it was never like, is this unethical? Like, he was in my belly.
Yeah, you were
It
like,
is what
get
it
to
is.
work.
This is my body.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely capitalized off of it, and you do learn that there is a fetish for literally everything.
What's the
like,
craziest fetish?
I mean, we just went to AVN, and I just saw this girl was talking about how a lot of her fans are like, I forget what the term, but it's like a messy fetish, like a slime fetish.
Oh.
So like she's like put like beans in her underwear or like just like anything slimy and stuff like that. Like, I am learning so much. It is awesome. But yeah, no, I definitely took advantage of being pregnant. Also, I kind of had to. I showed so early on, and I did not bank enough content to kind of have that, but your boobs get bigger, so that was also a plus. And I think that, yeah, I think in general, even in everyday life, like, people are attracted more to you when you're pregnant. Even when I was pregnant, I feel like I was getting hit on more, or like
my
guys
God.
were looking at me more.
And
And
like,
I
this one's fertile.
I tried to look into the research of it, and I think that's like what it is. Like, it's just this like DNA thing that's like, oh, like, yeah, she's
ready to go.
yeah, I don't know, but it's crazy. I had a ton of people who fetishized it, and so yeah, I capitalized the shit out of it.
Good for
Are you, now that he's one, right?
Yeah, he
Your
just turned
son.
one.
Are you around other moms that aren't doing OnlyFans, and is that weird? Like, do you feel judgy vibes?
If I have known you before, then no. Like, I'm definitely a little bit more hesitant on it. Like, our neighbors are awesome. You can tell they're on the right side of history vibes. Like, they got it. I wouldn't be scared to tell them. They probably know. I think they follow me on Instagram. But there's like another kid that he hangs out with all the time. And she's like, I think the mom does something in like tech. And I'm like a little bit iffy if she were to ask me. It's not that I'm nervous. I don't know. I think I just don't want to be looked at differently.
Right.
You know, even someone asked me, like, does your nanny know? And I was like, I've never explicitly said it, but they made a good point. They were like, I mean, we have a great nanny, but they were like, are you ever nervous that like she would look at you differently or whatever? And I'm like, maybe, but I think now is I personally, so this is so side plot, but like I dated someone who's Israeli who didn't like tattoos, right? And so I didn't show the dad my tattoos right away. I was like, I'm gonna get this guy to fall in love with me first, and then I'm gonna be like, well, bam. You know? So then they're like, oh, you are a great person, you know?
Right,
and so I think for me, it's kind of developing that character so they understand who I am as a person first, and then when they find out, they're like, oh, okay, I have loved her, and so it doesn't matter, versus like kind of telling them right off the bat and then just already having this stigma against who I am and being like, ugh, you know?
Yeah.
So if it's something that got brought up, I would be open to saying, but it's not something that I ever lead with if I'm just meeting you.
Yeah. Well, it's like, hi, I'm Kylie. I do OnlyFans. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
They're like, okay, well, this is weird now.
So when did you decide that, you know, this has been something that has been so great for me, I want to help other women do this? Like, when did the agency come to fruition?
So that kind of started definitely when I wanted to leave the other agency and they wouldn't let me. And then I just found out like other things that were kind of happening. And I was talking about it with Shepard and I was like, you know, it's just, I feel so bad for these, even myself who's been in this industry for 10 plus years. Like I kind of just signed on to this contract. My gray flag or my beige flag is that I simultaneously don't trust men, but like I trust anyone else all the time. That somehow even makes sense.
Exactly me.
Like, I think that nobody's gonna do me dirty. I was just taken back when I like called so nicely and was like, no, like it's not, you know, I just think like do good and good will happen to you. So when it doesn't, I'm like, but wait, what do you mean? Like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. Why isn't it being reciprocated? And so that was like a huge turning point to me that I was like, you know, also I'm a Cancer. I'm motherly to my core. Like I like to take care of people. The idea kind of sprouted with me and Shep just like having a conversation about it. I was like, I wish that there was like an all girl agency. Like I wish that there was someone out there that could like really help these girls. Like I'm tired of them getting taken advantage of. And he was like, you could do that. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you could literally just do that. You've worked in sales, you've done it. And I'm like, that's kind of how the conversation started. Yeah. So he helped me on like making it a business side of things. And
because he manages talent.
Yeah, he works in music. I mean, he understands how it works and he has his own, you know, company that he's been in music for 15 to 20, I think close to 20 years. And so he helped me on like the big brain side of it of like making it a legitimate agency and what I would need on the back end and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, we're all female and queer run company. We do not do contracts. And
love, you were like, never again.
Work on a handshake.
Never again. Also, it's like, so we have a basic client agreement. It just says, this is what we do for you. This is how much you pay us. And you can leave at any time because I am confident in what we do. If you want to leave, then leave. But like, if we're so good at what we do, why would I make you stay?
Yeah.
And that's always been something that's a red flag to me. Like any agency that's like, you have to be with us for a year. It's like,
no.
Why are you making, like, what do you have going on?
Across any industry, if they ever make you sign a contract that is like an explicit time, don't sign it.
Yeah, like it's just bizarre. And so, and then also I know a lot of these agencies are just taking advantage of women who have no idea, who also like don't even understand percentages and how it works and what they should be taken. So we also do a flat rate, 20% across the board for anyone. Whereas like most of these girls I'm having a conversation with, they're getting like 40 or 50% taken from them.
That's
criminal. Which is the whole point of OnlyFans, was to have it back, you know, the power back in your hand when you're monetizing. That's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
There's also something really nefarious about having a contract when it has to do with your body. and photos of your body.
It's weird. I'm sorry, but it's
Yeah.
weird behavior. Like, why would you I think that's why it was so off-putting for me, because I'm like, well, now what? You're like, I'm sending you my nudes and
Yeah, like by force.
you're like, and now I already told you I don't want to be with you. I'm
Yeah.
like, you want me to just keep sending you my nudes?
Like, what do
and
you
just act
mean?
like everything's chill? Like, it's
That's crazy.
weird.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? It's like, I'm a firm believer on like what's meant to be is going to be. We have 100% retention rate. The only girl that left us, she called me and she was like, she needed to leave for her own reasons. And I was like, she's one of my friends. So I was like, I will never be upset with you. Like, you do what is best for you. Like, I'm just appreciative you even came to us in the first place to represent you. Left and then came back. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't imagine being like, no, you have to stay with us. That would have just, you know, ended the relationship, the relationship, and B, like, she would have never came back to us. And so it's like, look what happens. It's like, you treat people with respect. It's like, you're going to get that in return.
In return. How many clients do you guys have right now?
Right now, I think we have about like 10. We're a boutique company. And we also, like, that was another thing that was really special to us, is that I have also been with agencies just in general, not even OnlyFans agencies, where you're not making a certain amount of money or you don't have a certain amount of followers. And so you kind of just get like pushed under and then like forgotten about. And then like nobody has messaged you for like 2 months. And you're like, wait, do I even exist to these people? And so we want to make sure that we have a handful of people. So then that way each person can get like the dedicated attention that they deserve. And that I'm not just like signing on people and just using them for their money and then just kind of forgetting about them.
What is the first step when somebody says, okay, I want to do OnlyFans? Or when you first launched, like what do you do? Is it just like you throw up a couple of pictures and you're like, here we go?
I mean, there's definitely more to it than like, especially for a launch. But I will say, I think people thought, and to an extent, it is easy money, but it's not as easy as people think. And I think that's where like the misconception happens. Like, I have a lot of people who have like a 9-to-5 and like called me and they're like, I want to make $1 million selling my feet on OnlyFans. And I'm like, I love where you're going at. You're like, I do too.
I want to make that happen for you, but let's be realistic.
Yeah, like it doesn't work like that. The misconception is that you make a ton of money really fast, but it's funneled through other things. Like, I was able to make that much money on OnlyFans because of the platform that I built prior to that.
Right.
And so that ultimately is what made me the money. It's like people went on because now for the first time in 10 years since I've started social media, they can talk to me. They can get live photos from me. And that's where most of the money comes from. If you're just, you know, doing a regular job, 9-to-5, and you don't have a social media platform or presence at all, it's a ton of work that you have to put in to kind of be making money. Especially now, it's a very oversaturated website. There's tons of people on there. It's not as easy, I think, as especially now. I feel like, you know, we're going through a Great Depression, I feel like, almost like where nobody has money to spend.
Right.
There's just not as much money going through as it used to. I mean, you heard the whole like Bella Thorne making like $1 million in a year, or what was it, a day or some shit, like wild thing. But yeah, there's definitely things that you would have to do in order to make that money. So if you were someone that doesn't have a social media presence, I would highly recommend that you start one, and then start like OFTV is like their YouTube platform, basically.
Oh, they
It's
have
like,
a YouTube platform?
so do you remember like when was it? I think it was like during COVID. It was probably like 2022 or something, that OnlyFans was like, oh, we're gonna go public.
Yeah.
And it was like this huge thing.
Yeah, you remember that?
And because porn stars were like, we built, like, you are a platform because we built you up, and now you're just gonna again get pushed, like, we're gonna get pushed aside. So it was like this huge controversial thing. And so they basically were like, okay, we hear you, so we're gonna do something differently. So they basically made a public app called OFTV, and it's their version of a YouTube.
Got it.
So now, in order to grow on OnlyFans, you have to be basically doing OFTV.
Really?
Like, that's how they basically push your account. You have to be doing that.
What kind of content is on there?
It's literally, think of YouTube. Like, it's all PG. It's not, it can be sexy. It can't be sexualized.
Okay.
So like any YouTube style content I put on there. I just did like a hot and cold plunge, like video where I like did the sauna and the cold plunge. Another one of my videos was like a try on haul. So it's literally just super casual, PG friend, like family friendly.
But is it
vibes.
content you would probably make more geared toward men versus women?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
you
the
can.
audience on
There's definitely
there-
people that do, and I'm sure that you probably get a larger, you know, you probably see more of an output of fans coming to your page from it. But the idea of it is that OnlyFans pushes you more. The whole basis of it is that OnlyFans sees it and is like, oh, we like this video, we're gonna push you.
Got it.
But other
I would be useless on OnlyFans. I have like a 96% female audience. My audience would be like, what is this, Alexa?
Oh yeah, no, I have like mine's like the opposite for men. And so I was like, why am I trying to be PG? Even now, I feel like not my personality, but what I've been comfortable with and not comfortable with has kind of just gone like this over the years.
I think it's everyone.
Even before social media, I never showed anything. And then I like was showing basically like half naked photos of me on social media. And then I went back to normal. And even now, I like will catch myself like showing a photo to Shep. And I'm like, is this too sexy on social media? And he's like, you're in a bath. What? You're being weird. And I was like, okay, cool. And so, yeah, I think there's this mix, especially now being a mom. It's like there's a bunch more hate now that I get for it.
Yeah, I bet. I was going to ask you about that too. It's like the Madonna and the whore complex, which if you guys don't know what that is where a man looks at you like his mother or like his whore, and there's no in between. You're sexualized or you're respectable, and they just can't like. And not obviously, this is not every man. This is
but
some
it's
of them,
generic.
It's
it's true.
Don't know how to separate.
I remember the first time after I had given birth, my obviously body dysmorphia. I was like looking at old photos, and I was like, that's what I looked like. Slay. I wish I posted more nudes when I looked like that. So I posted a really hot old photo of me, and then I thought it was funny because I swiped to like an old Nokia phone, and it was like subbed to my OnlyFans. I got so much hate, so much hate, and also I'm so hormonal. I was probably like 2 months postpartum, and I didn't get postpartum depression. I got postpartum rage. So I was like pissed. I was crying.
Kind of fun.
I had just stopped, not for Shepherd. Poor guy. But I had just got done. I had posted it right before Pilates. So by the time I got out, already been sitting up there for like 50 minutes, already got so much hate. And I like deleted it and I like called Shep and I'm like, what is happening? I'm like crying. And I had to like sit there and like work through it. And then I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm not going to let these people win. And so I unarchived it. And then I basically tried to capitalize off of all the hate. It's so unfair, especially as women, but now as a mom. The Barbie movie like really got it so well. Like there's nothing that I'm going to do that's going to be right. Like if I am not doing OnlyFans, then I'm only just a mom. Like you should be other things. But then if I'm doing this, it's like, well, you have a kid. Like who's at home with your kid? It's just, it's always one thing after another. And I'm never going to please everyone. And so honestly, I kind of needed that to happen because it kind of gave me a nice little kick in the butt to be like, you're going to get hate regardless. And so, I mean, that was the toughest one for me, especially because it's like in this industry, people can say what they want about me. I never really cared. Like if people were like, oh, you're fat or you have big ankles or you're, I don't know, whatever people could say to me, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't care. But when they came for me about being a bad mom because I was an OnlyFans model, like that one, it really stuck and it really hurt because it's like, you have no idea how I am as a mom. And so then I just got a little bit more reserved on, you know, what I post on social media. But yeah, I think that one is the craziest one for me is that like now being a mom, I'm like all of a sudden not allowed to, like I have to be a nut. And it's,
you can't be
have
sexy
to
if
be,
you're a
you
mom.
have to be covered up and you can't do anything. And then it's like, it's so weird.
Such bullshit. Why can't you be sexual after you give birth? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like we're just supposed to forget everything that we feel inside because we've had a kid.
Or like, and it's like if you don't do makeup or you don't dress up, it's like you've lost yourself.
But now you also like have to be sexy to get pregnant. Like you, like sex has to happen to get pregnant. To give birth, sex has to happen.
Not how,
but the
that's
second
not how it
the birth
happens.
is
you
here,
don't actually have to have sex for it.
No, but the second the birth is here, no more sexual. You bad mom. Like it's crazy.
Crazy. You'll never please everyone, and I think that was the reality of it is that like I'm just post what you want to post and try not to. I don't really receive hate anymore about it. I don't think, at least. I don't check that often. But I know the first time I definitely was like,
Yeah, and it hurts. I think people forget that whether it's about OnlyFans or, I don't know, internet drama and internet hate is so easy to send and so easy to forget that you're sending to an actual person with actual feelings. Like, nobody sat there and was like, Kylie just had a baby, so her hormones are going to be raging and I shouldn't be a fucking dick today and write this comment.
well, what's craziest to me is that like it's the stigma against women. Why are you going to come to me as a mom and discredit like how I am as a parent when probably more than half the people I talk to on OnlyFans are being secretive about keeping this from their partner? Why is it me that you're attacking, but like it's okay for you to watch porn or buy porn or whatever it is that you're doing when you have a partner and a child too? Like, why is it okay for the male to do it for pleasure, not even getting paid? You're doing it for pleasure, but I can't do it and get paid. Like,
provide for your child.
It makes no sense
Also,
for
yeah.
me.
Also provide for your child and have a job that's flexible to be the mother that you want to be for that child. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, like you've got college tuition done on day one. You're able to be with him and be at home whenever you want. And
I mean, I bought my own house by myself from doing OnlyFans.
Fuck yeah, you did.
For your child.
For my child. I literally told Shepard, I was like, we're not gonna try for a baby until I buy a home.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then did that.
So I don't want to hear it from a man ever again. Like,
No,
let's see you do that.
Literally.
How about that? You know what I
but
mean?
it's just because they can't. If they could, they would.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, if they could, they would.
I don't think we'd hear another peep. I think it would just be like links in bio.
No, you would hear a peep. Follow me.
Please don't do that.
Please, no one wants it.
Yeah, but it's just interesting. I do think that it's nice seeing so many women. I mean, even men are on the app too, but like as a creator, which I love, but like especially on the women's side, it's like it really you're seeing a lot more people have them now.
Yeah.
That it is more destigmatized. And you know, I've gotten the question kind of a lot of like, how do you think you're gonna have this conversation with your child when they get older? And you know, I hope we also eventually have a girl, but I love that we have a boy and raise him in a way to like respect women and what they do. And like, especially even as a dad, like he gets to also tell him the same things and that like not be ashamed of it and have him understand that there is a difference between sexualizing someone and not. Like having him understand like just because, you know, if you walked in the room naked right now and like a guy was sitting there, just, like I don't want him to automatically be like, oh my God, I'm horny. It's like to understand that like there's differences in things, right? Like I want him to understand that our bodies are not always sexualized, even if they're nude. Like it can be, but like I love that I get to raise a boy into a man and have him understand all these things, you know, and not be so like shell shocked around it.
Kylie's baby will not be someone's dusty son.
Oh, absolutely.
That's for fucking sure.
No dusty.
Whoever meets
it's
your
so
son.
funny because I originally my whole life I wanted a boy, and then I thought I was gonna have a girl because I was a crazy child, and everyone was like, "You're gonna have a girl because she's gonna give you hell, and you're gonna see what it was like." And I was like, "Okay." So then I wanted said girl, and then when we found out we were having a boy, I was like, "No, I wanted a girl," and she was like, "No, this is originally what you wanted," and I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. There's no way I'm having a dusty boy." So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to be a good, well-behaved little boy.
That sounds very good, Mom, to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But
I had 2 random questions that I forgot. So I'm just going to say them to you now. When you first launched, were you worried or like, can you see who is subscribing? Like, can you see their names or are they just anonymous usernames?
no, yes and no. So the funny thing is that you can do an anonymous name. You have the option to.
People just don't.
Some people don't.
Government name, first and last.
And I've definitely had a few people from like high school hit me up. And that was fun. I was like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be in here. But like, you know, it is what it is. Everyone is different in how they react to that. If I know you personally in real life, I am going to probably block you on my OnlyFans. I have a whole ass partner and a baby. It feels weird to me to know you personally.
Have you ever had any women do it, like Mean Girl style, just to check in and be like, oh, Kylie's doing so and so?
I don't think so. Maybe. Who knows? I'm sure there are. But at the end of the day, like, I know that there's probably people maybe that I grew up with that like maybe feel some type of way about that. We grew up in a small town, very conservative again. It's so true when Shepard said that, like, you're not going to care when you take that paycheck to the bank.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sitting in a multi-million-dollar house that I paid for on my own. Like, Shepard did not help me do that. The deed is in my name.
I bet that feels good.
And yeah, so I'm like, anyone can talk whatever shit that they want. I am unfazed.
You're
I'm
unbothered.
I'm
Wake up in this
literally
beautiful house.
unbothered. So like, yeah, it gets to a point where you just don't care. And that went away pretty quickly. Because at first, when I first signed, I was like, oh my God, what if people see? But now I'm like, and also now having a baby and having my body change so much during pregnancy, I like look back on old photos and I'm like, those could I'll leak those. Are you kidding me? That's what I looked like? So yeah, no, I'm sure people have, but I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you don't give a fuck. My other question was, I know you said guys do content. Straight men are doing content? Are like, what do you know what that looks like? I'm so curious.
Yeah, it
like,
just depends. I mean, it depends on what your fan base is, but a lot of the straight men, for what I've seen, are like gay baiting a little bit. They kind of lean into that. Their fan base is either gay men or older women. Yeah, typically. So that's from what I've seen, at least.
I was just thinking about that, and I was like, what man has figured that out? Like, what women are like, let me subscribe to him?
I think it's older women.
Okay. Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah.
So interesting. I could talk
It's
to
like
you about
our boomer moms.
I love
Just
that.
imagine that. It's like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm talking to Chris, whatever, on OnlyFans.
Oh,
good for them.
Good for her. Okay. Yeah, we could talk to you about this for hours.
It's so interesting. I have learned so much about it, and it really does like open your eye up to such a different viewpoint of, you know, the sex industry and, you know, working in that industry. Cause it's like, even before, it's like I feel like when you don't know something, you're against it, right?
Yeah.
It's just because you don't really, I don't know how to properly word that, but I didn't know anything about this industry.
Right.
And so like at first, like with OnlyFans, it was like, I don't know, whatever. And then, yeah, it's you learn a lot through it, and it's amazing. Everyone that I've also met through it has been so sweet and kind for the most part. Like even at AVN, like getting to meet so many different porn stars, like everyone is amazing.
What is AVN?
AVN is like the porn convention.
Oh.
And the AVN Awards is like the Oscars for the porn industry.
Okay, that's got to be a fun red carpet.
It was very fun. I didn't do the red carpet. I left. I was exhausted from the expo, but it was very cool, and you just see a lot of different things happening. I think the wildest thing I saw was someone fully dressed up in like a latex dog outfit.
Period.
And then had a collar on, and like someone was like walking them around the expo. That was fun.
I literally saw that on my street like 2 months ago in West Hollywood, you know. So
I
you just
love
never know.
that. I love that. Yeah, it's you just learn about like tons of different fetishes that you didn't know were a thing. It's really cool and interesting.
Yeah.
And kinks, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
So
It's
fun.
not boring at all. Like, I love my job. I love what I do. Not every day there's something different, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Do you have a funny story you could think of off the top of your head, or like a weird thing someone's asked for?
I think the most interesting thing that someone has asked for, I always find it the most fun to do when someone, how do I say this properly without it like coming across? I don't want to be.
We can cut it if it sounds weird.
Like, I don't know how to properly say this, but like there's people that like to be I guess I'll just say dominated.
Mhm.
They want to be dominated. And so
Are
they
they called
want
pay pegs?
Submissive.
Yes, they are very submissive. And so like there was this one guy who loved that like he wanted you to be mean to him. And that's so foreign to me. So
Yeah.
I was like on ChatGPT. I was like, how do I be mean to someone? And ChatGPT was like, this is against our guidelines. This is a violation. Like we should, and they're like giving me like, they're like, we should not be mean to people. I'm like, no, but he wants me to be mean. And they're like, I can't be mean. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like trying to think of it. And so like I think like one time I like made him basically masturbate into like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then like eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich
Oh
and then
my
like
God.
rub all of it all over him. Like just like crazy things that you wouldn't think of.
And you get paid to do this?
Yes. And it's so I think those are the most
So
fun
entertaining,
for me because I get to like really be creative in a field that I'm not familiar with at all. I always need like validation. So I'm like, was that fine? Was like, you like that? And they're like, yeah, but also like stop asking me that. That's
Yeah, like you're
ruining
trying to be
it."
the dumb. Yeah.
But those I think are the most fun because yeah, they're the most creative. I have to really think outside of the box for those ones.
That's so
Incredible.
entertaining. I want to learn more about pay pigs. I had a friend once who did the whole financial domination thing, and she had a pay pig in New York, and he would come over in like a gimp suit, and he would clean her apartment.
That's amazing.
And give her money to clean the apartment.
Honestly, yeah.
I don't think she even knew what he looked like ever.
That is amazing. I love that.
You know, you never know what's out there
No.
or what you can do.
There's
with it.
something
Yeah.
for that's why when people tell me now, like, oh, like they're dating, I'm like, there is someone out there for everyone. For everyone. There has to be.
God, I love this conversation.
I know. It's fun.
Oh,
Well, thank you for being an open book and
my God, of
sharing and
course.
letting us ask all of these like
Of
random,
course.
deep questions about OnlyFans and your business and
It's fun.
Playroom. Sorry, Lisa.
I think you've won. Kylie,
Oh
I think
my
you
God,
cracked
you
the
were
life
s-
code.
You are so sweet. It's exhausting. It's exhausting juggling it all. But I give it props to people who are also like single moms.
Yeah, sometimes I
It's-
think, wow, I've had a hard day. Imagine if I had a child.
Oh my God. I mean, luckily we have like, you know, everyone says this, but like we have the best baby in the whole world. Like he
He's
literally never
beautiful.
cries. He's such a sweet.
How do people get those?
Honestly, I'm not really a depressive person. Like I've never really been depressed. I'm generally a pretty happy person. I'm like a kid to my core. And so I think just giving him that my whole
Mm.
pregnancy and just having that mentality, like
Helps.
I think that's honestly what I think it is.
Love
Like
that.
my whole pregnancy, I was never stressed. Even labor, never stressed. I was like, whatever
Oh
happens,
my
happens.
God. Dude, if I get pregnant one day, I'm going to have to be taken to an island for the whole time just to avoid
In a
stress.
retreat where they
Yeah,
massage my
retreat.
head.
Retreat.
Yeah,
where
but people treat you differently when you're pregnant. That's what I'm telling you. Like I
Nice.
loved it, and I took advantage of it. They'd be like, "You have to park all the way over there." And I'm like, but I'm pregnant. But I'm literally pregnant. What do you mean? They're like, "Come right here." I'm like, "Thank you."
I'm growing teeth.
it's like
Literally.
princess treatment to the
Oh,
core.
you really do. I understand why people love being pregnant. You do. It's princess treatment all the time.
I wonder if there's someone out there who wears like a fake bump when they go out to the mall to
For
get a good parking
sure.
spot.
I wouldn't be surprised. We literally did that for a show at the Forum, and I thought we had VIP parking, and they were like, "You don't," and I was like, "Where do I park?" She's like, "All the way over there," and I was like, 14 weeks pregnant. I was not showing. And I'm like sticking out my belly. I'm like, but I'm pregnant and I have to pee. And I'll give you a gimmick. I'm like, but I have to pee really bad and like I'm pregnant. So like if you make me park all the way over there, I'm gonna pee my pants and then that's gonna be embarrassing. And then I'm just like yapping. This girl's
You're
like,
like,
all right.
Just
Just shut
park
up.
there."
Just start here. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, you're the best. I'm so happy that you came on. This was
Thank
such
you
a
so much.
treat. Wait,
I
where
love
can we
that.
find you?
My handle is at Kylie Rae, and then my agency is at Playroom Agency.
And if somebody thinks they want to be on OnlyFans, should they reach out to you?
Yeah, they can totally reach out to us on
Perfect.
either my Instagram or Playroom's Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.